Facebook family, welcome back to Functional Movement Friday, Upper Cross Syndrome edition. So last Functional Movement Friday we had lower cross, so this is the cousin of the lower cross syndrome. It's upper cross syndrome. So I want to unpack this on the chart here. What happens in upper cross syndrome is we get this crossing over effect where we have weak, deep neck flexors, scalene muscles, some other muscles into the neck become weak, as well as the middle and lower traps. They allow the head to actually roll forward here, and then the shoulders will translate forward as well. We have some tight pecs, pec major, pec minor, and then a muscle that's called the SCM. It goes from the sternum and the clavicle or the collarbone up into the base of the skull here, the mastoid. So this guy becomes really tight and it pulls the head forward. We also have tight upper traps, and there's a muscle called levator scapulae. So at the risk of getting too sciencey so that Lauren doesn't pop me, I'm gonna be real simple. Come on over here. So y'all can see, so levator scapulae is this muscle that goes from the scapula into the neck here, as well as the rhomboids. And these two muscle groups are deep to the middle and lower traps, as well as the upper traps there. So what happens is when these guys start to weaken, it allows the shoulder girdle to really translate forward. And so it's tough to see here. The one muscle we can see is the SCM. As the SCM kind of weakens, it again allows that anterior translation of the head. So we end up getting that posture. It's very recognizable from the side as something that looks like this. We see it in a lot of the youth these days because I think a lot of those guys are looking down. We covered a lot of these stretches, these corrective exercises with my son Drake. He's 10, iPad, Xbox, he does read as well, but a lot of this going on. But for people who are students, for people who are maybe sitting in a chair, dentists, hygienists, things like that, it puts you in this poor position, muscle memory develops, and this is kind of the result. So we're gonna show you a couple of things, a couple of ways to kind of undo this and prevent this. And we did cover this in a couple of videos ago. So you can always like us on Facebook and check out the archives to see those. But we're gonna wrap everything together and package it together with our friend Sam over here. So Sam's a good buddy. He's a personal trainer as well. So he sees a lot of this and helps a lot of these corrective exercises because a lot of his clients will develop in this position. It's kind of an epidemic today, especially with people sitting. So what Sam's gonna demonstrate is first we're gonna do pec, okay? So he's gonna do pec major. Now the pec major is starting here and it's going across to the humerus here. So what Sam is doing is just opening up that pec, all right? So pec major is good, but there's a muscle deeper that's pec minor. And pec minor is actually not just going like this, but it's going back to front. So as Sam dips down, pec minor really comes into play, and he's getting, you feel a good stretch there? Yeah. Good. So that's for pec. So again, undoing this to here, we're opening up with pec major and pec minor. All right. So the next thing we're gonna do, Sam, those optimal posture stretches. So again, if you remember, so Sam's gonna put one hand on his low back, and he's gonna kind of bring his chin in, and then he's gonna tilt his left ear to left shoulder. And where do you feel it, Sam?
Right here.
Right there. And then what happens if you tilt your chin up? Where do you feel it? A little bit more anterior, that SCM muscle. So this is a good one, okay? Now if you tilt your chin down, where do you feel it?
In the back.
More posterior back here. So this is a great cervical stretch. The great thing about this too is that we're telling our bodies to say, okay, this is good posture. If Sam just kind of got into it and did like this, he may feel a little bit of a stretch, but honestly, we're trying to retrain our bodies and our patterns of motor control. A lot of us have heard of muscle memory. Our muscles develop certain pattern of movement. It'd be like water and sand. There's a groove that occurs, and water follows that groove. It's the same thing with our patterns of movement. So for so long, if someone's like this, we have patients that say, Doc, I try to sit up tall, and after a minute, I'll fall back down. And the reason why is because 8 hours a day, they're computer, they're driving, they're texting or reading, and muscle memory develops. So we're really trying to have a change of mind while we're changing the muscles, okay? So that's for pec major minor, and an awesome for optimal posture. With each of these stretches, we're holding for a minimum of 30 seconds. Now for the strengthening stuff, Sam's gonna demonstrate on the wall here. The first one is, some people call it the Y to I, or the touchdown. Sam's doing a touchdown move here. He's squeezing his shoulder blades together the entire time. Is that tough to do?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, guys, it's like simple but not easy, because you really have to work to pull against this as you're squeezing your shoulder blades together. So for this, we would do 3 sets of 10. As it got easier, we'd go up to sets of 12 or even 15. Okay, now Sam, put your hands at your side. The next one we're gonna do is a chin tuck. So Sam is gonna be his head, so go ahead and put your back head up against the wall here and just tuck your chin down. Very easy, good, back and tuck down, good. Now, one thing, and Sam's is a little bit tight here, is that his head does come off the wall. So ideally, from the side, there's no motion here. We're just moving at the occiput, which is the base of the skull, and C1, that first cervical vertebrae. So it's a very slight motion, and it's just a very easy tuck, because here's where we start to get all the rest of the motion come into play. That's good, Sam. All right. So upper cross syndrome can lead to, we talked about shoulder issues, it can lead to headaches, neck pain, a lot of things that are just repetitive. So the people who wake up and say, I don't know what I did, but I can't move my neck now, what's going on? We typically find out their posture is poor, that upper cross syndrome develops, and then it's a downward fall from there. So guys, thank you for joining us for Functional Movement Friday. We're gonna be covering some fun stuff coming up, so hopefully we'll see you soon. Have a great weekend. Good job, dude. That was good.